Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Dana Dane coming back at you today. Today's look is going to be a no makeup look. Basically, I'm going to make it appear as if I don't have on any makeup. And all that does is just kind of gives you your even skin tone, look, appearance, and the lashes. So it'll look like I have on no makeup, but I really do. All right, let's get started. I've already done my brows. I put a little primer on my face. I like to put it on ahead of time. So for those who are watching and this is your first time or you're trying to learn how to do makeup, I'm going to try to walk through all the steps for you. Primer is basically, it's going to put a barrier on my skin, and it's going to put a barrier between me and the makeup. And the primer is also going to work to give the makeup something to adhere to other than your skin. Today I'm going to be using my e.l.f. Putty Primer. This is a good one for people who are just starting off in makeup. It's not expensive. It's very affordable, and it works great. This one is for pores. They have two other ones out now, but because I have pores, I like to use the Pore Putty Primer. And give you kind of an idea what it looks like. And I just swirl it around and I just pat it in, mostly my cheek areas and my nose, because that's where a lot of times my pores will show. And this will help block the foundation and your makeup from setting right into those pores. Kind of puts a little barrier so it won't go right into the pores. And I have one little blotch, and I'm going to what we call conceal that. So that way when I put on my makeup, it does not show through. All right, we got our primer on. And before I start anything else, I want to conceal. So let's go in with I'm going to use my MAC Cosmetics. This is my MAC Cosmetics NC 48. I don't want to use 48, I want to use 50. I think I'll use 50. Okay, this is 24-hour. And this is by MAC Cosmetics. And this is my, it's pretty much my skin tone, pretty compatible to my skin tone. What I'm going to do is just put some on wherever I wanted to conceal. Sometimes I get bags under the eyes. You could color correct those areas, and I'll explain that in another video. But today we're going to use concealer. So I'm just going to place a couple dots under my eyes. And I have a little hyperpigmentation there, so I'm going to try to conceal that as well. All right, and it's best to let that sit just a minute or so it warms up to your skin. And then I'm going to take you could use either a brush or you can use a sponge. Today I'm going to use a sponge, and it's a wet sponge. And you wet your sponge because you don't want it to absorb all of your makeup. You want it to be able to just let it do its job as opposed to soaking up your makeup inside of the sponge. So you wet it and you just squeeze it out real good and make it damp. And we're just going to pat all that in and just pat it around and make it nice and smooth, even tone. Lighten it up. Let's put a little bit more there. Just need to lighten it up because once you put your foundation on, it's going to disappear. And you can see it's pretty much blending in now with my skin. All right, let's do under the eyes. For those nights you didn't get enough sleep, that'll help conceal those bags and the dark rings you sometimes get under your eyes. And I'll just go over my eye a little bit. Now for your eyes, when you're doing looks, using eyeshadow, you can use a primer on your eye, which is a primer specifically for the eyes. I used a primer for the face, but you could use one specifically for the eyes as well. And that will help put a barrier and give your eyeshadow something to adhere to. But because I'm doing a no makeup look, I'm just going to use my concealer and cover my eye. I had some dark areas on my eye. and this will just kind of make everything blend out smoothly. And we're just going to pat all of that in. And I like to spread out my edges so that way when you put your foundation on, it does not, you can't see the edges. It'll help smooth all that out. And just going to keep patting it in. I'll just take the rest of it and pat it around. Okay, again, I want to hit my hyperpigmentation area. It's okay to go back. If it doesn't work the first time, it's okay to go back and hit it again. Do whatever there are no rules to makeup. As much as we want to believe there really are no rules to makeup. So you do what you got to do to make it work. All right. So now that that's done, I put concealer on my face. I want to make sure it's patted in real good because I don't want anything to come through when I place my foundation. I just messed that up. You probably couldn't see it, but I actually removed some of the foundation when I did that. All right, and just lightly pat it in. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is my foundation. Today I'm going to be using my Juvia's Place foundation. And this is the tube. This is what it looks like outside of the packaging. And my particular shade is 310 Burkina. Now with Juvia's Place, you don't need a whole lot of product. A little goes a long way. And that's actually with a lot of foundations. Start off light and just build your way up. It's easier that way than to remove a whole bunch of makeup that you put on. And what I like to do is place a dab on my hand, and I will pat it. Just make dots all over my face. Thank you. And I'll just wipe the rest on my chin. Now, I used, some people again will use the sponge. I like to use a brush when I'm blending out my foundation. The brush that I'm going to use today is my NYX brush, and it's number 3. This is actually what they call a buffer brush. It's not necessarily a foundation brush. I like it because I get a lot of coverage, and it's soft, and it gives me the airbrush type look. So what I'm going to do is you always start in the middle. You can start in the middle, or you can also start wherever you have your hyperpigmentation, because that's where you want to concentrate most of that foundation. So I'm just going to brush it out first. Be careful around the brows if you've already done your brows. Doesn't hurt to go over your eyes again with the foundation, so that way everything looks unison. All right, I'm spreading it all out. Go down your neck because you don't want your neck to be one color and your skin, your face to look another color. And sometimes that's the problem with some people. They have different complexion on their neck from their face. See, that one dab, one little dot spread all out. And then I just kind of stipple it in. And that just kind of presses it into your skin. And press it in. All right, and I'm going to do it one more time for my hyperpigmentation areas. This is what they call a buildable coverage. Trying to see, this is full coverage. In other words, full coverage is something that is supposed to help cover everything. You have medium coverage, which will cover just, it'll just put a light covering on you, and you can build it up to a full coverage. I like full coverage because of my hyperpigmentation areas. So again, I'm going to put some dots so I can go over my hyperpigmentation areas again. And this time I'm just going to stipple it in for starters. Just going to press it in. Press it in. And some of these foundations you have to work fast because they will start to dry out, but it's not a problem. If it dries out, just spray it with a little mist of like setting spray, or even just a quick little spritz of water, just something to wet it again, and it'll help blend it right on back out. All right, so there's our foundation. So now for our eyes, let me wipe this off my hand because I'll get it everywhere. For our eyes, you can use a pencil liner or you can use a gel liner. It's a pencil liner. This one is from Morphe. It works pretty good. I usually leave the pencils for my under eye liner. I like to use gel liners for my lids because I am an older lady and I have more wrinkles and my skin is not as tight on my eyes. So I like to use a gel liner. This particular one is Inglot 77. And I like an angle brush for this. And what I'm going to do is dip my brush, and then I like to wipe off the excess on the edges because I don't want a clump of it. I just want enough to put on my brush to line my lids. And I need a mirror. All right. So what I'm going to do is just follow my natural lash line on the upper lid. Pat this in a little more. Sometimes it's kind of easy if you just make little dashes. Just kind of connect the dashes instead of trying to draw it straight out. And then I'm going to go back over it again. This was one of the hardest things for me to learn because my eyes were such a sensitive area and I always want to blink. And it happens. You just start, you could clean it up and start again, but you know, it's going to happen. Happens to the best of us. All right. Let's see. And that kind of, see how this looks flat and this one has, you can see the line, it kind of defines your eyelid again. So let's do the other side. Some people it's easier to close their eyes to do it. To close one eye, I'm sorry. Close one eye when you're doing it. Sometimes that works for me. Sometimes it doesn't because I can't see all the time the straight line that I want to make. All right. Got a little on my lash. All right, so that's my eyeliner. And let's line the bottom lash now. I'm going to use my Oh, this is Makeup Forever. I don't want that one. I want, let's just bring the whole thing down. This one's a Urban Decay. It's called Waterline. It's for your waterline. And it's in the shade Legend, which is one of their black shades. Now, if you don't want to put fingerprints on your makeup that you've already placed. So what I like to do is take a sponge. As soon as I find my sponge, use this one. Here it is. So I like to take a sponge and lay that down, and then follow my waterline. You pull down the lid just a little bit and just walk your pencil right along that waterline. Trying to keep my eyes from watering. Allergies are not my friend today. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm just going to follow right along my waterline. See that? All right. Let's put that all back. Now, when you put on foundation, it's still, especially if it's a liquid, it's still, you can put fingerprints on it and all. So what you want to do is set it. So what I like to do is, actually before I set, let me highlight. Highlight is basically bringing out the natural lighting, that where the light hits your face or the sun hits your face. It's usually right under the eye, and you can see wherever the light is kind of hitting my face. Those are areas that we're going to highlight. That keeps your makeup from looking flat. It kind of gives it dimension again. So for that, I'm going to use my Juvia's Place concealer in number 11. Some people, you will see, they just kind of fill this whole area. I don't do that, because to me a little goes a long way again, and I just don't need all of that. So I'm just going to make a V and fill it in, and do the same thing to the other side. I'm going to make a V and fill it in. I'm going to go down the bridge of my nose, and then you put just a little bit up top to blend in. Always make a heart, because that's about the right amount. And then put a little bit under here and here. Now I look like a warrior. And again, I'm going to take, you could use again a sponge or a brush. And right now I'm going to use a brush. As soon as I find mine. And I'm going to be using a Sigma. I use a lot of brushes. I use a lot of brushes. Probably you could do it without using as many brushes as I do. I just like different brushes for each step. And this is my Sigma 4D HD brush. It's kind of shaped in a triangle. It gets into the little nooks and crannies really good for me. So I'm going to be using that, and I'm going to start under my eye. And I'm going to blend it all out. You just keep pressing it in. Go along the side of your nose and pressing it in. Should not go past this part of your past your eyebrow. Should not go anywhere further than that. And we're just going to pat it all in. Just keep patting until it's pressed into your skin good. And I like to kind of feather out the edges again. Let's go to the other side. Do the same thing. Down the nose, the side of the nose, and walk it underneath your eye. This also, if you have wrinkles underneath your eye, this kind of helps. But you have to set it the right way so you don't set the wrinkles in. I'm just going to pat it and press it in good. Press it in and feather it out. And let's do the around the mouth. And the chin. You don't necessarily have to go in this order. This is just the order that, again, I go in. Let's do the bridge of the nose. And we're going to do the forehead. And be careful of those brows if you've already done them. Some people do their brows at the end. I like to do them beforehand, so that way if there's any mistakes that I made, I could clean it up and put my foundation on top, and you'll never know. All right, so there's my highlight. Now I'm going to contour. You don't have to contour. I just like to contour to give my face some more definition. And I'm going to be using my Anastasia Beverly Hills palette. And in this you have different highlights. So I could have used like one of those for the bridge of my nose and under here. I just don't. I prefer the liquid as opposed to the cream. But I am going to use cream. This shade here, cream, for contour. And I'm going to take a small brush, a small tip. This one comes to a point, and this is a Morphe E25. It has dual ends, so I could have actually also used this for doing my highlight here. It works out. So I'm going to use this end, and what I'm going to do is, if you want to, this is how people make their nose look more narrow. So I'm just going to put a little on the tip, and I'm going to just gently trace where I want to appear the bridge of my nose goes. And then I'm going to taper it in a little. Actually, I don't mind my nose, but I'm just kind of showing you. You don't have to do this step again. It's just me doing it, and I'm trying to show you what I do. Then I want to place some so that if you want to bring your forehead down some, then you come in. If you want to bring your forehead up, then you contour towards the back. So I want to bring mine in a little bit, so I'm just going to place some lines along my forehead. And you bring them down to about your temple. Then to accentuate my cheeks, you want to start at the top of the ear and draw a line like so. And do the same thing on the other side. Now I will also, I come across my jawline just to make my face look a little more thin. Okay. Next, I'm going to take a contour brush. They come in different sizes and shapes. This one is more flat. And again, this is a Morphe brush. Morphe E55. E55, well, upside down. But it's an E55. So I'm going to start with my nose. And I like to bring this all the way to where my brows meet. And you want to bring the contour down. You want to bring it down so it's going to look like shadowing when it's done. Let's do the other side. Bring it down. If you have on eyeshadow, you just have to be careful not to interrupt the colors that you have on your eyes. Okay. And let's do our cheeks. And you want to brush upwards. You don't want to brush down. You want to brush up. And then let's fill in up top. You can see it's shadowing. That's what you want it to do. You want it to shadow, to look like shadowing, so it doesn't make your you don't want to extend your head up. Make it look long. And we brush up. For the cheeks, it's always brush up. You don't want it to brush downward. And take it into your hairline, because it will be obvious if you don't. You just have to brush it into your hairline. All right, and then for your jawline, you brush it down. Sometimes it looks awkward, but we always say trust the process. Trust the process, because your final look is what you want. All right, now let's take some powder. I'm going to be using my Beauty Bakery. This is banana powder. And what this is going to do is help set those areas. You might want to wear, if you're not used to this, you might want to wear like a towel or a robe or something, because you might get powder everywhere. I'm going to use my already damp sponge, and I'm going to use the side that doesn't have all the makeup on it as I get powder on me. Actually, I'm going to use the flat end for this. And this is by Real Techniques. So what I want to do is, first of all, the under eye where I did, hang on, let me. All right. You want to place some powder. This is called baking. If you have dry skin, you do not need to bake, because this is just going to dry your skin out even more. I have combination skin, but up under my eyes, it's still kind of, it depends on the season. It can be oily, it can be dry. So you just want to set that cream that you just put on. Need some more powder. Let's go down the bridge of the nose and the forehead. Now for where I just contoured, I want that to be nice and sharp, so I'm just going to draw a line up under where I just contoured. That's going to give me a nice sharp contour area. And let's put some powder on the chin. Can't forget the chin. All right, and let's let that sit a minute. And what that's going to do is absorb any of the leftover wetness that might be on your skin. And while that's setting, let's go ahead and do some lashes. Today's lashes are coming to you by Lily Lash. These are my Lily lashes, and they are Gaia, G-A-I-A, Gaia, maybe not. I don't know, but I'm going to wear them. All right, let's open her up. I've worn these before, and I've cleaned them up, so they're already cut to shape. Sometimes you have to cut your lashes to fit your eye. These are already done, so I'm going to gently pull them off, and I'm going to be using Duo Glue. Eyelash glue. I like the one with the green writing, because it has vitamins in it, and it helps your eyelashes to keep growing and not necessarily pull them out when you take your lashes off. So for my lashes, I'm going to put a bead of glue across the band. I'm just going to run the brush across the band. and put some glue on there. And I like to put an extra bead at the ends because that's always where your lash will try to come up. And you want to let this sit for about 30 seconds to dry. Another little tip is when you're learning to use lashes, take them out in the order that they're in here, because this tells you that this is your left eye and this is your right eye. Keep them in that order as you pull them out and put the glue on them. That way you don't put them on the wrong eye. I've seen it. And it's easy to do with some of these lashes because they look the same on both eyes. But just looking at them in general. But someone who wears lashes can tell that they're on the wrong eye. All right, so we're going to place this on and we're going to let that sit and dry. You want it to become tacky. That's what you're waiting for, the glue to become tacky, so that way you could set it on your eye. While that's drying, I'm going to put a little primer on my lips. Get ready for my lipstick. This primer is, again, from NYX Cosmetics, and this is in the shade Deep Nude. You may not be able to find these anymore. I don't think they make these anymore. It just so happened that before they took them off the shelves, I had just bought a few of them up because I like them so much. But they have a new primer, and I don't like it as much as this one. So just going to go over my lips with a primer. I already conditioned my lips, moisturized my lips. So I'm just going to put the primer on. And by the time I do that, my first lash should pretty much be ready to go. Easiest way to put on your lashes, for those doing a lash, actually, let me hit real quick. Sometimes you get fallout on your natural lashes, so let's bring those natural lashes out a little more before we put on our false lashes, and that helps them to kind of blend together a little better. All right, got my mascara on. I'm going to use tweezers to place my lashes. I'm going to hold it right in the middle. Nope, I'm going to take the band off first. Oops, always drop something. And then I'm going to take my mirror. And the easiest way to learn how to put lashes on is to look down. Look down into your mirror, and you're going to lay them right across that line that you just drew with your liner. Center it, place the center first. And then pull the ends and adhere them to your lash line. It's going to take some practice. Even now, sometimes I have to take them off and do them again. And then just want to press them into the lash line. See that? Let's do the other side. If you wait too long, the glue will dry out and you have to do it all over again. So I'm looking down into my mirror, placing the center of the lash on first, adhering the tail in, and then the inner eye. And I'm just pressing them on. You could use your fingers. Some people, it's easier for them to use their fingers to place these. Sometimes I do it. Okay, and there are my lashes. Ready to go. Ready to go. One little trick I like to do too is once I place my lashes, I like to take a liquid liner and just trace across the top of that lash. Uh-oh. Somebody wasn't quite ready. All right, and just to make your, this is probably a little more advanced, but just to try to make everything look copacetic. All right, what I'm going to do too is what I should have done before is take a little of that powder and set around in my eyes because it's starting to crease a little bit. So I'm just going to take some on my brush, tap out the excess, and go around my eye. It kind of sets that makeup in there so it doesn't keep creasing. To the other side. Yes, powder is our friend. Powder is our best friend. And again, this is a banana powder. It's a translucent setting powder. It just kind of sets everything into place. All right, now for our lips. This is a natural look, so what I'm going to do is take a brown lip liner, and I'm going to be using Morphe's lip liner in the color Richie. And I'm going to trace my lips. Trace the outside, the edges of my lips. Start at the inner corner. Sometimes, again, this is easier if you make dashes and just combine, connect the dots. For the inner part, I like to make an X. And that's your Cupid's bow. And then take it from there. And don't worry if you mess up, you just wipe it off. And do the lower line. All right. So let's see what I think I will use my lip gloss. This comes from the crayon case. And this is in the shade Private Party. And it's kind of a pinkish color, but I think that would balance nice with the look. Excuse me. And you just fill in your lip. Once you place it on the bottom, you can tap it onto the top, and it kind of gives you a guide as to where to go up top. I try to stay inside of my liner. Sometimes you can go, if it's more of a sheer gloss, it's okay to take it to the edge. It'll still give you definition from your liner. See? All right, now let's get rid of this powder. To get rid of the powder, what I like to do is take a large fluffy powder brush. No, I don't want to use this one. Let's use this one. This is my Juvia's Place powder brush. Powder brush. And for that, I like to use a compact foundation. And this one is L'Oreal True Match, and this is the shade Cool. Shade Cool. C8. So what I'm going to do is take my brush some on, tap off the excess, and go across wherever I have powder and brush it off. brush it all off. And then once you do that, anything that's left, just pat it in. Just pat it into the skin. All right. And there you have it. You can add a little bit of blush. Let's add just a little bit of blush. I'm not a big blush fan, but for this look, we're going to add a little bit of blush. And I'm going to go with my Tarte. And this is in the shade Feisty. It's in the shade Feisty. It'll give it a subtle blush. And I'm going to use, this one's a brush. This is my Morphe. I told you I use a lot of brushes. My Morphe MB8. And we're going to tap it into our product, brush off the excess, make a smile, and hit those cheeks. Gives you a little bit of rosy. Start off light and build it up if necessary. Me, like I said, I don't like a lot. I don't really do blush a lot. But because this is supposed to be a natural look, I don't naturally have rosy cheeks, but you know, what the heck. All right, and here you have it. This is my no makeup look. It's natural. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I was able to help someone out today. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like my my preview if you enjoyed it. Thank you. Leave me a comment too. Tell me what you think. Tell me what else I can do. Maybe something that you'd like to see me do different. Communicate with me. Chat with me. Let me know. Have a good day.